Welcome to a world that ended not with a bang, but with a whisper. A world where the concrete of our greatest cities has been split open by the persistent roots of the forest, and where the silence of the wilderness has reclaimed the bustling streets of man. Today, we are immersing ourselves in the full story of The Last of Us Part 1. This isn't just a breakdown of plot points or a list of levels. This is a story about the lengths we go to for the people we love, the morality of survival, and the beautiful, terrifying bond between a man who lost everything and a girl who represents everything we have left. Whether you are here to study, to sleep, or simply to wander through the ruins of America, settle in. Our journey begins in the humid suburban heat of Austin, Texas, on the final night of the world as we knew it. Chapter 1: The Shattered Watch. In September 2013, life was mundane. Joel Miller was a man defined by the weight of responsibility. A single father working long hours in construction, his world revolved around his daughter, Sarah. We see their relationship in the small things, the way they joke about Joel's age, the messy state of their living room, and the quiet warmth of a birthday celebration. Sarah gives Joel a watch, a gift that is meant to mark the passing of happy years. But as the clock ticks toward midnight, the air in Austin begins to change. The first signs of the end are subtle. Sirens in the distance that never seem to stop, the frantic flicker of emergency broadcasts on the television, and the strange behavior of the neighbors. A parasitic fungus, a mutation of the cordyceps that usually infects insects, has made the jump to humans. It hijacks the brain, turning its host into a mindless, aggressive vessel for the spread of spores. As Joel, his brother Tommy, and Sarah flee their neighborhood, the scale of the horror becomes clear. The highways are graveyards of burning cars. People are running blindly into the darkness, pursued by things that used to be their friends. In the chaos of a car crash and a frantic sprint through the woods, Joel is confronted by a soldier. The military's orders are cold, containment at any cost. The soldier opens fire. Joel survives, but Sarah is hit. In the pale moonlight of a Texas field, Sarah Miller takes her last breath. The watch she gave Joel is smashed in the struggle. The hands stop. For Joel, the next 20 years will be lived in the shadow of that silence. Chapter 2: The Shadows of the Quarantine Zone. We move forward 2 decades. The world has been reclaimed. Nature has moved back into the cities, draping the skyscrapers of Boston in layers of emerald ivy and thick moss. The remaining human population lives in quarantine zones, draconian military outposts run by Fedra. Here, life is a cycle of hunger, labor, and fear. Joel is now 50 years old. The grief of Sarah's death hasn't vanished. It has simply hardened into a shell of cynicism. He is a smuggler now, working with his partner, Tess. They are a formidable duo, respected and feared in the Boston underground. They move contraband, navigate the tunnels beneath the city, and do whatever is necessary to stay fed. They are not heroes. They are survivors who have long since stopped looking for a reason to keep going beyond the next meal. Their path crosses with Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies, a rebel group fighting against Fedra's martial law. Marlene is wounded and desperate. She offers Joel and Tess a deal. If they smuggle a package out of the city and deliver it to a team of Fireflies at the State House, she will return a massive cache of stolen weapons. That package is a 14-year-old girl named Ellie. Ellie is unlike anyone Joel has ever met. She was born after the outbreak, raised in a military boarding school, and has never seen the world outside the walls. She is brave, foul-mouthed and fiercely curious. At first, Joel treats her with cold indifference. She is cargo. She is a job. But as they slip past the QZ walls under the cover of a torrential rainstorm, the truth is revealed. Ellie was bitten 3 weeks ago. In a world where every other human turns into a monster within 2 days, Ellie is still human. She is the first immune person ever discovered. She is the hope the world gave up on 20 years ago. Chapter 3. The Leaning Giants of Boston. The journey through the outskirts of Boston is a haunting experience. The trio moves through buildings that have partially collapsed, creating a labyrinth of tilted floors and flooded basements. The air is thick with the smell of rot and the heavy, humid scent of the swamp that the city has become. This is where they encounter the clickers, the third stage of the infection. These creatures have been host to the fungus so long that it has burst through their skulls, blinding them. They hunt by sound, emitting a terrifying, rhythmic clicking noise that echoes through the abandoned hallways. The tension in these segments is thick. Joel and Tess move with a practiced silence, while Ellie watches, learning the grim reality of the world she has entered. They reach the State House, hoping for a clean handoff, but they find only death. The fireflies waiting for them have been discovered and executed by the military. In the ruins of the grand building, Tess reveals her own secret. She was bitten during a skirmish in the tunnels. She knows her time is over. With a final, desperate plea, she convinces Joel that Ellie is real, that the cure is possible. Tess stays behind, sacrificing herself in a hail of gunfire to buy Joel and Ellie the seconds they need to escape. As they flee into the woods, the silhouette of the State House burning against the sky marks the end of Joel's life as a smuggler. He is now a guardian, whether he wants to be or not. Chapter 4. The Fortress of Bill's Town. To get Ellie across the country to the Firefly Labs in the west, Joel needs a vehicle. This leads them to the town of Lincoln, the domain of a man named Bill. Bill is a survivalist who has turned an entire neighborhood into a lethal maze of tripwires, nail bombs, and pressure plates. He lives alone, having long ago decided that other people are just a liability. The atmosphere in Bill's town is one of lonely, stagnant order. We see the remnants of the life Bill tried to build. The boarded-up diners, the traps set for the infected, and the deep, bitter isolation he has embraced. Bill is a cautionary tale for Joel. He represents what a man becomes when he cuts off every emotional tie to stay alive. Together, they fight through the town's overgrown streets, eventually encountering a bloater in a high school gymnasium. A bloater is a mountain of fungal plates and raw strength capable of throwing toxic spores. After a frantic battle, they manage to fix an old truck. As they drive away, leaving Bill to his empty kingdom, the dynamic between Joel and Ellie begins to shift. The silence of the road is filled by Ellie's discovery of a cassette tape, old music that brings a ghost of the past into the cabin of the truck. Chapter 5. The Long Road and the Steel City. The drive across the American Midwest is a sequence of beautiful, melancholy vistas. They pass through states that have returned to the wild. Vast fields of golden grass, rusted-out tanks sitting like ancient monuments on the hillsides, and billboards advertising movies that never premiered. Ellie finds a book of puns, and her reading them aloud becomes the soundtrack to their journey. But the peace is shattered when they reach Pittsburgh. The city is controlled by hunters, vicious groups of survivors who have overthrown the military and now prey on anyone who enters their territory. Their truck is wrecked in an ambush, and Joel and Ellie are forced into a brutal game of survival through the city's concrete canyons. They navigate the Grand Hotel, where the decadence of the old world has been replaced by stagnant water and fungal spores. In the darkness of the hotel's basement, Joel faces the horrors of the infected alone, while Ellie finds her own strength, saving Joel's life with a rifle. This is a turning point. Joel, who once refused to let Ellie carry a weapon, finally recognizes her as a partner. They meet Sam and Henry, two brothers trying to escape the city. For a few brief days, they form a makeshift family, sharing stories and dreams. But the world of The Last of Us is unforgiving. Sam is bitten, and in a tragic flash of violence, Henry is forced to kill his brother before taking his own life. The silence that follows is the heaviest yet. Chapter 6. The Hydroelectric Dream. Autumn arrives, painting the forests of Wyoming in shades of fire and gold. The air is crisp and the sound of rushing water leads them to a hydroelectric dam. This is the home of Tommy, Joel's brother, who has helped build a thriving, self-sufficient community. This chapter is a rare glimpse of hope. We see a world where people are not just surviving, but living. There are horses, there is clean water, and there is the promise of a future. But for Joel, the presence of a normal life triggers his deepest fears. He tries to leave Ellie with Tommy, believing that he is too broken to protect her. This leads to a heartbreaking confrontation in an abandoned ranch house. Ellie tells Joel that everyone she has ever cared about has left her, and that he is the only one who hasn't. She isn't a job to him anymore, and he isn't just a smuggler to her. Joel finally accepts the weight of his love for her. He chooses to stay. They leave the safety of Tommy's dam and ride toward the University of Eastern Colorado, where they believe the Firefly Labs are located. Chapter 7. The University of Shadows. The university is a place of haunting beauty. The campus is overgrown with autumnal trees, and monkeys swing from the balconies of the science buildings. It is a place that should be filled with the energy of students, but instead, it is a graveyard of academic ambition. They find the Fireflies have long since moved their operation to a hospital in Salt Lake City. But before they can leave, they are jumped by a group of scavengers. In the ensuing struggle, Joel is impaled on a piece of rebar during a fall. The scene is visceral. The sound of the metal, the sight of the blood on the snow, and Ellie's frantic voice as she tries to lead a dying Joel to safety. This is where the roles truly reverse. The protector has fallen, and the child must become the warrior. Chapter 8. The Long White Winter. The transition to winter is the most atmospheric shift in the story. The world is muffled by a thick blanket of snow. Joel is incapacitated, fighting a massive infection in a cold basement, while Ellie takes on the burden of survival. She hunts deer through the silent, frozen woods, her breath a white mist in the air. She encounters David, the charismatic leader of another group of survivors. David is a complex antagonist, a man who speaks of community and faith but hides a cannibalistic darkness. The winter chapter is a tense, psychological horror story. Ellie is captured and taken to David's town, where she realizes the true nature of his group. While a blizzard howls outside, Ellie must navigate a burning restaurant and a final, deadly confrontation with David. Meanwhile, a recovered Joel is tearing through the town to find her. When he finally reaches her, she is broken by the violence she had to commit. Joel pulls her into his arms, calling her baby girl, the name he once reserved only for Sarah. In this moment, the bond is sealed in blood and snow. Chapter 9. the giraffes of Salt Lake City. Spring brings a sense of renewal to the ruins of Salt Lake City. As they make their way toward the hospital, they encounter a herd of giraffes that have escaped from a zoo and now roam the city's parks. It is the most iconic moment of the journey, a moment of pure, silent wonder. They stand together, petting the gentle creatures, and for a second, the horrors of the past year seem to vanish. But as they approach the hospital, the weight of the mission returns. They are intercepted by Firefly scouts, and Joel is knocked unconscious. When he wakes, he finds himself in the hospital, where Marlene is waiting for him. She tells him the truth. The fungus has grown into Ellie's brain. To create the vaccine, they must perform a surgery that she will not survive. Marlene believes it is a necessary sacrifice. She believes that one life is worth the salvation of humanity. Joel disagrees. He's already lost one daughter to the world's cruelty, and he will not lose another to its hope. Chapter 10: The Hospital and the Final Choice. The final act of the story is a frantic, violent descent into the heart of the hospital. Joel, driven by a singular, desperate purpose, kills everyone in his way. He reaches the operating room, kills the lead surgeon, and scoops up a sedated Ellie. He carries her to the parking garage where he is confronted by Marlene. She pleads with him to do the right thing, to think about the millions of people who could be saved. Joel's answer is a bullet. He kills Marlene to ensure that no one will ever come looking for Ellie again. As they drive away from the city, Ellie wakes up in the back of the car. She asks what happened. Joel, looking at her in the rearview mirror, tells the most significant lie in history. He tells her the Fireflies found others like her, that they couldn't make a cure work, and that they've stopped looking. He chooses her life over the entire world. The story ends on a quiet trail overlooking Tommy's town. Ellie, burdened by survivor's guilt, asks Joel to swear that everything he told her about the Fireflies was true. Joel looks her in the eye and says, "I swear." Ellie looks at him, the weight of the world between them, and simply says, "Okay." The screen fades to black. The world is still dying, the monsters are still in the woods, and the cure is gone, but they have each other.